A very good morning. It's just past 8 this Tuesday morning. We're back again with another edition of Breakfast News over the next 60 minutes. This is your one-stop show for all that matters from the field of politics, business, sports and entertainment. A big look at vaccines and the vaccine distribution in India, and lots to look forward to in the next 60 minutes. Well, I'm Anil Thomas. With me this morning, my co-anchor Nancy Kohli. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Anil. How are you doing this morning?
Well, feeling pretty okie dokie.
Okay. Well, on that note, let's in fact, like Anil mentioned, let's get you all the news from across the nation. World sports and business updates will keep focusing on what's making it to the headlines. Also, in fact, what's making it to the web also this morning in our news web review. There's a lot more to look forward to. Let's begin with the headlines.
Over 381,000 healthcare and frontline workers vaccinated during the 3-day COVID vaccination drive. Around 150,000 vaccinated on Monday. Health Ministry says Muradabad health workers' death not related to vaccination.
The 10th round of talks between the government and the farmers, earlier scheduled for today, will now take place tomorrow. Supreme Court appointed panel on the farm laws to hold its first meeting at the Pusa campus in New Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, appointed chairman of Shree Somnath Trust, accepts responsibility and appreciates efforts of Team Somnath. Union Home Minister Amit Shah congratulates Prime Minister Modi for becoming chairman.
Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan says the reason for the rise in the petrol prices is sharp drop in production by the oil-producing countries during the COVID-19 pandemic, leading to severe imbalance between demand and supply.
US Capitol gears up for inauguration of Biden presidency tomorrow amid unprecedented security. Over 25,000 National Guards deployed. Security in and around state capital also put on high alert. Watch exclusive coverage on DD India from 7 p.m. tonight.
In sports news, engrossing final day of the series in store for fourth and the final test match between India and Australia at Brisbane. India lose early wicket chasing to 328-run target. India need a draw to retain the Border Gavaskar trophy.
Well, those are the headlines at the top of this hour. Now for the stories in detail, starting first up with the vaccination story with regards to vaccination across the length and breadth of the country.
Absolutely, and the vaccination drive has gained further momentum there by the day. Around 150,000 have been vaccinated throughout the country on Monday. The total vaccination tally, they are crossing 380,000.
The third day of the massive countrywide COVID-19 vaccination program was conducted successfully on Monday. These are the visuals from different parts of the country where the largest vaccination drive in history is going on smoothly. The whole country stands united in its fight against coronavirus. The largest vaccination campaign ever, which started on January 16th, is fast gaining pace and is going on smoothly across the country. In Karnataka, Deputy Chief Minister C.N. Ashwath Narayan inaugurated a vaccination centre in Bengaluru. On this occasion, Deputy Chief Minister said that health workers are being given priority under the vaccination campaign.
We are providing vaccine for the frontline workers. It was a duty of the government to protect the frontline workers, immunize them, vaccinate them.
I would like to first of all thank the Indian government for making this vaccine available to everyone in such a record period of time. Please vaccinate yourself.
The nationwide vaccination rollout, which began on January 16th, continues, and now several prominent doctors, people, volunteers, health workers are coming forward and taking the vaccination.
In Odisha, the COVID-19 vaccination drive resumed on Monday. People were vaccinated at the capital hospital in Bhubaneswar. Hospital administration said more health workers have been engaged for the vaccination drive.
The same arrangement is being made also here today. As you know, in the last event we had injected about 156 people, and now we are ready to give injection, immunize even if 200 to 300 people also today.
Meanwhile, Union Health Ministry has said that a total of 3,81,305 beneficiaries have been vaccinated till Monday through 7,704 sessions as per the provisional report.
Today by 5 p.m. in all the states, all India figure of beneficiaries who vaccinated is 1,48,266. As on today, a total of 3,81,305 beneficiaries have been vaccinated till 5 p.m. as per the provisional reports, and no case of serious, severe AFI is attributed to vaccination till date.
The national COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 96.59% with over 1,211,000 cumulative recoveries so far. The rate of new daily infection has further slipped even below 15,000 with only 13,788 cases being reported in the past 24 hours. The country has 50 times more recovered cases than the current active cases. 14,457 recoveries have been registered in the last 24 hours in the country, while the number of new confirmed cases in the last 24 hours is 13,788. Bureau Report, DD India.
While the Union Health Ministry has clarified that of the 2 deaths reported, death of the 52-year-old male from Moradabad, UP, who was vaccinated on the 16th of January and died on the evening of 17th, is not related to vaccination as per the post-mortem report. Death was caused due to cardiopulmonary disease.
One is male, which is 52 years age, was a resident of Moradabad, UP. He was vaccinated on 16th of January and died on 17th. The post-mortem was done by a board of 3 doctors, which revealed that death was due to cardiopulmonary disease. So there was pocket of pus in lungs and enlarged heart. This death is not related to vaccination as per the post-mortem report.
Well, moving to the next story that's coming from down south in Tamil Nadu, where schools are all set to reopen for class 10 and class 12. That's not all. More than 17 lakh students are there. Due to COVID pandemic, over the last 8 months, schools in Tamil Nadu and across India have been closed, but they are slowly in a phase of reopening. And Tamil Nadu schools today reopening on Jan 19th. Let's go across live to our correspondent Philip Matthew, who joins us with more on that story. Philip, good morning. Philip, give us a sense there, especially when it comes to schools reopening. What are the steps being taken by the State Education Department, especially when it comes to helping students and parents get their kids back to school?
Well, Anil, it's been a case of people basically tiring of the shutdown, of having to learn from home. So after initial euphoria of among the students about staying at home, most teachers and students have found it difficult to carry out classes online. And therefore, the government, in keeping with the improved COVID-19 situation in Tamil Nadu, after assessing the overall situation, has decided to resume classes at least for the 10th and 12th standard students who are about to face board exams. Of course, a standard operating procedure has been put in place to ensure that all precautions are followed. Sanitizing of all the classrooms have been carried out. Multivitamin tablets as well as other immunity medicines have been provided in most schools. Screening of school children and teachers will be done to check for any diseases or comorbidities, as they say. All primary health centers in the area have been alerted to handle students with suspect COVID-19 symptoms. Mobile units have also been placed on standby to ensure that they can reach any school nearby in the case of any contingency. So, an elaborate standard operating procedure has been put in place to ensure that there's no mishap of any kind once classes resume. But clearly, there's a sense that it is time to get on with life. The COVID-19 pandemic cannot be allowed to disrupt normal functioning.
Philip.
It has helped that the situation is far better than it used to be about 6 to 8 months ago.
All right, Philip, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and filling us in with all those developments taking place there in Tamil Nadu. As far as schools, they're set to reopen for classes 10th and 12th from today onwards, and with all the COVID-19 protocol being there too, all the parameters and all the apparatus there for COVID-19 being put in place. We'll keep tracking developments on that front. But moving on now, 10th round of talks between the government and the farmers, earlier scheduled for today, will now take place tomorrow. And the Supreme Court appointed panel on the farm laws will hold its first meeting at the Pusa campus in New Delhi today. Earlier, Supreme Court had asked the Delhi police to decide for itself the course of action on the proposed tractor rally on 26th of January. The further hearing in the case there on Wednesday. Here's a report.
The Supreme Court, while adjourning the plea on stopping the proposed tractor rally by farmers on the 26th of January in Delhi, told the Delhi police that it is well within its rights to take action according to law, but the court will not intervene in this matter. The Delhi police wanted that the Supreme Court should issue a formal order to this effect to stop farmers from any sort of activity which creates any hindrance in Republic Day parade or any situation leading to worsening of law and order in the National Capital Region. Republic Day parade is an occasion of pride for everyone. Earlier in the previous hearing, Solicitor General had urged the court to intervene, and Chief Justice S.A. Bobde had asked the Delhi police to file a petition. The bench of Chief Justice adjourned the hearing till Wednesday. During the hearing, the CJI commented that the issue of entry into Delhi is related to law and order, and this should be decided by the Delhi police. We had told earlier that Delhi police is the first authority to decide who should be allowed to enter Delhi. After talks between farmers' organizations and the government failed to come to any constructive outcome, the Supreme Court had set up a 4-member committee, and for the time being, an interim stay had been given on the implementation of the new agricultural laws. However, a member of the committee, Bhupinder Singh Mann, has refused to be a part of it. The next hearing is slated for Monday and will focus on deliberations on all these issues. Vikas Arthi's report, Delhi, DD India.
Meanwhile, the Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar has said that he hopes the protesting farmer unions will discuss alternatives other than repeal of the new farm laws in the 10th round of talks. He also appealed to them not to go ahead with their tractor rally on Republic Day in Delhi.
मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में 6 वर्षों में किसान की माली हालत सुधारने के लिए और कृषि को मुनाफे में लाने के लिए अनेक प्रकार की योजनाओं का सृजन किया गया। हम लोगों ने एमएसपी को भी 1.5 गुना किया और पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि के माध्यम से 75,000 करोड़ रुपया प्रतिवर्ष किसानों को देने का प्रावधान किया गया, जिसका लाभ किसानों को मिल रहा है। जो किसान आंदोलन पर है उनसे 9 चरण हम लोगों ने चर्चा की है। जिस प्रावधान से किसान को तकलीफ है उस प्रावधान पर विचार करने के लिए और उसमें संशोधन करने के लिए सरकार खुले मन से चर्चा कर रही है।
Moving on now, Prime Minister Modi has been appointed the chairman of the Shree Somnath Trust. The Prime Minister has been already a trustee of Shree Somnath Trust. The decision to make him the chairman was taken in the 120th meeting of Shree Somnath Trust, which was convened virtually via video conferencing. The Prime Minister's name as new chairman was proposed by the trustee and the Union Home Minister Amit Shah and supported by another trustee and former Chief Secretary of Gujarat, P.K. Lahiri. The post of the chairman of Shree Somnath Trust was vacant after the passing away of outgoing chairman trustee Keshubhai Patel.
Union Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has said that due to the COVID pandemic, the global oil production has gone down, which has resulted in imbalance in demand and supply of crude oil. The minister was speaking to the media in Bhopal on Monday.
कोरोना के कारण कई सारे तेल उत्पादनकारी देशों ने उत्पादन नहीं किया, उत्पादन की कटौती हुई, डिमांड सप्लाई की इम्बैलेंस है। जितना विश्व की आवश्यकता है उतना डिमांड इन दिनों में बढ़ी है। उत्पादन से डिमांड ज्यादा बढ़ने के कारण प्राइस में भी उसकी प्रेशर आई है। हम एक इंपोर्ट सेंट्रिक देश होने के कारण हमको जब अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजार में चंद महीना पहले वो मूल्य $35-38 था, अभी ये बढ़ के 54-55 तक पहुंच गया। यही प्रमुख कारण है अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजार में कच्चे तेल की दाम की उछाल के कारण यहाँ रिटेल मार्केट में भी प्राइस बढ़ी है।
Now moving on, the director of the web series Tandav, Ali Abbas, in a tweet has tendered an unconditional apology. In a statement, he said that Information and Broadcasting Ministry has informed them regarding a large number of grievances and petitions received on the various facets of the web series, with serious concerns and apprehensions regarding its content hurting the sentiments of the people. The cast and crew did not have any intention to offend the sentiments of any individual, caste, community, race, religion or religious beliefs, or insult or outrage any institution, political party or person living or dead. The cast and crew of Tandav take cognizance of the concerns expressed by the people and unconditionally apologize if it has unintentionally hurt anybody's sentiments. And earlier, people staged protests at several places with regard to the web series Tandav. People are hurt over religious sentiments in the web series. Meanwhile, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan met the Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar and called for the immediate ban of the web series.
हमारी आस्था पर चोट या देवी देवताओं का अपमान करने का किसी को अधिकार नहीं है। ओटीटी प्लेटफॉर्म पर भी कड़ी निगरानी रखने की आवश्यकता है, क्योंकि इस प्लेटफॉर्म पर जो अश्लीलता परोसी जा रही है वो हमारे किशोरों को विशेषकर गलत दिशा में ले जा रही है। इसलिए इसकी निगरानी, इस पर अंकुश आवश्यक है। भारत सरकार स्वयं इस विषय पर गंभीर है।
Meanwhile, grim news coming in from Gujarat, where 13 people, including a child, died after they were run over by a truck in Kosamba in Surat. Police say all the deceased are laborers and they hail from Rajasthan.
Well, tragic developments, they're coming in this morning with the news of 13 people, there including a child, losing their lives after they were run over by a truck in Kosamba, Surat, and these are believed to be all hailing from Rajasthan. Moving on now, the Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman held the pre-budget consultations with the finance ministers of the states and the union territories yesterday. The meeting was held through video conference and was attended by the chief ministers, the deputy chief ministers, finance ministers, the ministers and senior officers from the states and union territories and the union government. The finance minister also highlighted the importance of this meeting as a sign of cooperative federalism and indicated the manner in which the union government was strongly supportive of the states or the union territories' fight against the pandemic. Now, most participants thanked the finance minister for financially supporting their states or union territories during the worst months of the pandemic by enhancing the borrowing limits and providing back-to-back loans to the states. The participants also gave numerous suggestions to the Union Finance Minister for inclusion in the budget speech.
Well, Jammu and Kashmir Director General of Police Dilbag Singh has said that there are inputs that the terrorists are keen to carry out some mischief ahead of Republic Day as they are desperate to disturb communal harmony, peace, law and order in the Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory. He was chairing a high-level security meeting of the senior officers of police, army, BSF, CRPF and intelligence agencies at the police headquarters in Jammu on Monday to review the security scenario of Jammu zone and arrangements for the forthcoming Republic Day. The DGP said that the year 2021 will have its own challenges as new strategies have been adopted by Pakistan, with new terror operatives emerging on ground which need to be countered. He directed the officers to take care of vulnerable persons and places to thwart the nefarious designs of enemies. DGP hailed the proactive approach and preventive measures of the Jammu and Kashmir police and security forces, which led to the recovery of huge arms and ammunition in 2020, besides eliminating 225 terrorists.
And in Jammu and Kashmir, the police yesterday busted a terror module by arresting two operatives of the banned Jaish-e-Mohammed outfit with the cache of arms and ammunition in the Ramban district. The Inspector General of Police, Jammu Zone Mukesh Singh, said that the initial investigation revealed that two terror operatives, namely Umar Ahmed Malik and Sohail Ahmed Malik, both the residents of same town in Anantnag, were working under a terror plot hatched by Kashmir-based terrorists and the Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed handler Aqib alias Alpha from Budgam. He added that the duo clandestinely travelled from Kashmir to international border at Vijaypur in Samba district and received arms and ammunition dropped with the help of drones. The recoveries included 2 AK-47s, 1 pistol, 16 grenades, 9 AK magazines, 269 live bullets and 2 magazines. The further investigation in the terror module is underway.
Well, after a look at all the national stories, it's time now to shift focus and take a look at all the international stories in our segment across the globe. Well, ahead of the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris on Wednesday, the American capital has been literally converted into a garrison city in view of the multiple reports of threats and armed violence that security agencies have been receiving over the past few weeks. Over 25,000 National Guards have been deployed along with thousands of local police personnel and those from other security agencies in Washington city. US Marshals are also deploying 4,000 officers to Washington DC. Besides, fences and barricades have been erected all around the Capitol building where the inauguration ceremony will take place. Security in and around the state capitals have also been put on high alert as security officials are gearing up to prevent a Jan 6th-like event and ensure a peaceful transition of power. Meanwhile, Facebook Inc. Has said that it will block users from creating events on the social network hosted in areas that are close to the US Capitol, the White House or other state capitals until at least inauguration, day after tomorrow. Facebook says it will also review existing events on the social network to weed out any that might violate its policies. Well, America gearing up for that big day event, that big ticket event, transition of power where Democrat-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will become the President and Vice President of United States of America. Remember, a fortnight ago, America witnessed one of those bizarre visuals there from the Capitol, and this time around security officials leaving no stone unturned, especially when it comes to fortifying that particular Washington DC as a fort, keeping in mind the transition of power and an error-free and no glitches, especially when it comes to security being the top priority not only for the Biden administration but also for the security forces. Absolutely,
leaving nothing to chance there. The security officials there, in fact, ramping up the security and in fact turning the entire area, the US Capitol and of course in Washington there as a fortress to make sure that any untoward incident does not take place, even as there are reports coming in that the violence could again unfold there in and around that area. They do not want a repeat of the 6th of January incident, the tragic the disturbing incident that took place there, and of course all the updates will continue here on DD India as far as the inauguration day tomorrow is concerned. All right, the US President Donald Trump has opted not to issue a pardon for himself as he prepares an expansive list of more than 100 pardons and commutations for release today. Trump, who's already issued 2 waves of pardons in the past month, met the advisors on Sunday to finalize the list of pardons and commutations. Trump was impeached by the Democratic-led House of Representatives last week on the charges of inciting the storming of the US Capitol on 6th of January by pro-Trump supporters. Trump's case is to face a Senate trial, and if convicted, he could be disqualified from seeking another run for the presidency in 2024.
Well, US First Lady Melania Trump in a farewell speech urged the people to be passionate in everything and to remember that violence is never the answer and will never be justified in the backdrop of Jan 6th incident when a group of Trump supporters stormed the US Capitol, showing concern for the citizens amid the rising COVID-19 pandemic, which has claimed thousands of lives in the United States. She urged to use caution and common sense to protect the vulnerable as millions of vaccines are now being delivered. Well, in a big gear up to this event that's going to take place on the 20th in America and the 21st morning in India, DD India is going to have live coverage that's begun last evening. We are going to have exclusive coverage today from reporters in Washington and across America as we bring you stories there on how things unfold, how the preparations are gearing up, especially on ground zero with regards to the swearing-in ceremony of President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
And in fact, unprecedented security measures there being taken place with the American capital literally converting into a garrison city, leaving nothing to chance there. You know, of course, a repeat of the 6th of January incident in which the US capital was stormed by pro-Trump supporters. A repeat is not in fact warranted. So, you know, fence and barricades have all been erected all around the Capitol building where the inauguration ceremony will take place. All of that, of course, will be covered here on DD India. All right, moving on now to some other news. MV Jaganan, the Indian ship which was stranded at the Chinese port of Jingtang, has reached Japan for crew change. The sufferings of 23 Indian crew members stuck on the ship since June last year have finally come to an end, as all of them will fly back to India in the next 36 hours. The owner of the vessel, the Great Eastern Shipping Company Limited, told Prasar Bharati that the first batch of the roughly dozen sailors left for India Monday night. The second batch is expected to leave for India today. After prolonged talks between the Indian and the Chinese side, the ship was allowed to sail to Japan on the 10th of January. Now, another ship, MV Anastasia, with Indian crew, is exploring the possibility of a crew change at its current point of anchorage in Cafedian.
Well, violent clashes continued in Tunisia as hundreds of Tunisians swarmed the cities, throwing stones and gasoline bombs in the capital as security forces in response had to use tear gas and water cannons to disperse the crowds. Rioting and protests have followed the 10th anniversary of a revolution that brought democracy but few material gains for most Tunisians, with anger growing at chronic joblessness and poor state services.
And let's move on now, take a look at all the updates on COVID-19 from across the world. As of now, more than 9.59 lakh COVID-19 cases have been reported worldwide. The global death toll due to COVID-19 has crossed 20 lakh and stands at over 20 lakh 48,000. Over 6 crore 85 lakh people have recovered from the virus. The US continues to remain the worst hit country by the pandemic so far and has reported over 2 crore 46 lakh cases of the virus, with the death toll surging past 4 lakh 8,000. Now, Brazil follows the US in terms of death toll with 2 lakh 10,000 deaths.
Well, the Director General of WHO, Tedros Ghebreyesus, has warned that the world faces a catastrophic moral failure because of unequal COVID vaccine policies. Tedros said it was not fair for younger, healthy people in richer nations to get injections before vulnerable people in poorer states. Dr. Tedros said that the Me First approach would be self-defeating because it would push up prices and encourage hoarding. So far, China, India, Russia, the United Kingdom and the US have all developed COVID vaccines, with others being made by multinational teams like the American-German Pfizer vaccine.
Now, US President Donald Trump rescinded entry bans imposed due to COVID-19 for people arriving from Brazil and much of Europe from 26th of January. The restrictions end the same day that new COVID-19 test requirements take effect for nearly all international air passengers arriving in the US. Last week, the head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention signed an order requiring nearly all the air travelers to present a negative COVID-19 test or proof of recovery from COVID-19 to enter the US starting 26th of January. The US restrictions barring most visitors from Europe have been in place since mid-March when Trump signed the proclamations.
Well, United Kingdom has started rolling out COVID-19 vaccination to its population. More than 4 million people in the UK received their first dose of coronavirus vaccine. People in their 70s and the clinically extremely vulnerable are being offered the vaccine first in England. However, Health Secretary Matt Hancock said that more hospitalizations have been registered than ever. We also urge people to follow lockdown rules. The country presently has over 34,33,000 cases of the virus, while its death toll stands above 89,860.
Now in France, the average daily COVID-19 infections hit a 6-week high of 18,270 on Monday, while the number of people being treated in the intensive care units for the virus rose above 2,800 for the first time in a month. The Health Ministry also said that the number of people to receive the COVID-19 vaccines had reached 4,79,873 as of Monday. Meanwhile, the number of people hospitalized with the disease also went up by 350 to 25,619, which was highest since 8 December, while the number of people being treated in the ICU increased for a 9th consecutive day. However, the French Prime Minister reaffirmed that a new confinement could be imposed if the situation worsened.
Well, moving to Spain, which is faced with new record infection rates, Spain has begun giving second shots of COVID-19 vaccines to elderly nursing home residents. 8 of Spain's 17 regions began the second round of jabs on Monday. Meanwhile, a court in Seville ruled on Monday that one home could inoculate a resident against her family's wishes. Health Ministry has ruled out a return to nationwide confinement despite calls from regional administrations for tougher measures. However, country witnessed a record rise in new infections over the last 2 days, with more than 84,000 new cases being reported on Monday.
Now, Portugal recorded a record number of COVID-19 related deaths on Monday as its hospitals struggled to cope with the situation. The government also introduced further rules to curb the spread of COVID-19. Now, under these new rules, those not able to work remotely will have to carry an employer declaration, and people will not be allowed to travel between municipalities over the weekend. Portugal also reported a record 664 COVID-19 patients in the intensive care. With 6,702 new cases, the cumulative tally of infections in the country has now reached 5,56,503. Meanwhile, Portugal has already nearly doubled the number of ICU beds since the start of the pandemic.
Meanwhile, an independent panel has criticized China and the World Health Organization for not declaring an international emergency until 30th of January 2020. The panel said that Chinese officials could have applied public health measures more forcefully in January to curb the initial COVID-19 outbreak. The panel has also called for a global reset and said that it would make recommendations in a final report to health ministers from the WHO's 194 member states in May. Earlier, US President Donald Trump has also accused the WHO of being China-centric, which the agency denies.
And China has further tightened the epidemic prevention measures and building a new isolation center in the hardest hit city to cope with the swollen cases of COVID-19. Beijing designated one community in southern Dajiang district as medium risk for COVID-19 after 2 new locally transmitted cases were reported in the area. Now, as per the local health authorities, northeast China's Heilongjiang province reported 7 new confirmed COVID-19 cases and 81 asymptomatic infections on Sunday. China has more than 88,000 cases of COVID-19 and over 4,600 fatalities.
While moving continent to Brazil, Brazil kicked off the nationwide COVID-19 program of vaccination on Monday by distributing doses of a vaccine from China's Sinovac biotech. The health ministry gave states the green light to start immunizing late evening. The Butantan Institute, run by the Sao Paulo state, needs another shipment of Sinovac's ingredients by the end of the month in order to hit its target of 46 million doses by April. Meanwhile, the federally funded Fiocruz Biomedical Center in Rio de Janeiro has not yet received the first shipment of ingredients for AstraZeneca's vaccine. On Sunday, Brazil approved emergency use of the Sinovac vaccine and one from AstraZeneca.
And with that, let's move on now to our next segment, get you all the news from the World Wide Web in Web News Review.
Well, we've got our colleague Arun joining us this morning with more updates on all the buzz that we've missed, bringing it to you in this particular segment. Over to you, Arun.
Good morning, Anil. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, all our viewers. Now, let's begin the web review now. The first article that I've picked up today is from the Pioneer. Now, these news articles are trending all across the newspaper websites and the web articles. It says that work underway on over 1,000 kilometers of metro network in 27 cities. That's what the Prime Minister Narendra Modi said. We know this fact that yesterday Prime Minister Narendra Modi did Bhumi Pujan for Surat's metro rail and for the second phase of Ahmedabad's metro rail. But importantly, highlighted this point that by 2022, close to 27 cities will be having metro rails. Now, as of now, we are having 18 cities that have metro rail services. Now, interestingly, till 2014, only 225 kilometer network was only created as far as metro services are concerned. But in last 6 years, if you look at this, 450 kilometers of metro network has been created. And the focus of the government has been now on the metro light services. That means apart from metro, in tier 2 town and tier 3 town, there will be more metro light services going forward. So these are some of the big announcements, you can say that are big takeaways as far as yesterday's initiatives are concerned. And these things are trending all across the World Wide Web or the newspaper articles. The second news article we have picked up from Times of India. Now, Times of India article says that Indian companies are now preparing to buy vaccines for their employees. We know this fact that two Made in India vaccine, that's by Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech, these are the Made in India vaccines. And we know this fact that other countries have also started to get these vaccines. Recently, Brazil got the consignment of the vaccines. Now, Bhutan will also be getting this aid of vaccines as far as Indian vaccine is concerned. So now the Indian private players are also gearing up. So be it the ITC, be it Mahindra Group, be it various other conglomerates from power technology, the space, the steel giant Jindal Steel. So all these conglomerates primarily are approaching various departments of the government so that they can procure the vaccination for their employees. So here's the private sector also coming forward as far as the vaccination drive is concerned. The next big article is from the Mint. The pink paper says that DRDO develops India's first indigenous 9mm machine pistol. Now, this is the first Made in India 9mm pistol, machine pistol that's been developed by DRDO. Now, this is another feather in the cap as far as India's Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative is concerned. So, this 9mm pistol is known as ASMI. ASMI actually means self-reliant. So we know this fact that recently government has taken various decisions as far as making defense sector Atmanirbhar, and in that context only you can understand this fact that the cost of manufacturing this one 9mm machine pistol is under 50,000 rupees, and it has a capability to be exported as well to other countries because it has all those features that has to be there in any kind of defense equipments that any country makes or manufactures. So in that context, DRDO today DRDO primarily has developed this ASMI 9mm machine pistol. So this is another feather in the cap as far as India's Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant movement is concerned. This is also trending in almost all the newspaper websites. Last but not the least, this is again from the pink paper Economic Times. Now, Economic Times says that new launches of housing units increased by 56% in Q4 of 2020. So that means the way the number of coronavirus cases are declining on daily basis, and now the vaccine is also in place. We know this fact that the interest rate as of now are very much cheaper. So if you look at the retail interest rate, where the retailer borrows from the bank, that has fallen below the 7% of interest rate. So the borrowing is now set to increase because the number of coronavirus, it has declined, and of course the demand is increasing as far as housing projects are concerned. So the cost of housing projects has also gone down recently. So that's why this report, done by this research and analytical firm called Prop Equity Real Estate Data, it says that the housing units or the launches has increased by 56%. So real estate developer on one side are launching various new projects. to on the other side, people are also buying houses and property because of the lower interest rate regime as of now. So these are some of the news articles that were published as far as the websites are concerned. But for other news, back to you, Anil and Nancy.
Well, thank you, Arun, for bringing us those latest from the World Wide Web. Now it's time for moving to our next segment, that's sports, and taking a look at all the sports stories hitting the headlines. Well, on day 5 of the 4th test between India and Australia, visitors managed to steady the ship after a shaky start. When reports last came in, India chasing 328 for a series win, where 106 for the loss of 1 wicket. India need another 222 runs to win the test match. Shubman Gill and Cheteshwar Pujara are in the middle. Gill scoring a fluent 73 of 133 deliveries, while Cheteshwar Pujara unbeaten on 19. But the interesting thing about Cheteshwar's knock is that Cheteshwar, this is the third time in the series that Pujara has not scored a boundary in the first 100 balls that he's faced. His first boundary came off the 148th delivery in the first innings in Adelaide and of the 101st ball in Sydney. So he continues to hold forth there, helping India grind out a draw and take this particular or retain this Border Gavaskar trophy. But purely, Shubman Gill there, Gill, the star batsman, especially when it comes to scoring a fluent 50 there at 21 years and 133 days, is the youngest Indian opening batsman to score a 50 in the 4th innings. The previous record was held by Sunil Gavaskar.
And the Union Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Kiren Rijiju, launched the Khelo India State Centre of Excellence at the Shiv Chhatrapati Sports Complex at Balwadi in Pune on Monday. This is the 9th KISCE formally inaugurated by the Union Minister so far, and the Maharashtra-based sports complex will focus on 3 priority Olympic disciplines: shooting, athletics and cycling. The Sports Minister reaffirmed that the government is dedicated to strengthening the sports ecosystem in every possible way. The Khelo India State Centre of Excellence in Pune will be supported financially for renovation to operationalize 25th 25-meter electronic target shooting range, besides support in providing off-road and track cycles. There will also be provided financial support for sports science backup, the sports staff, sports equipment and more.
Well, 13-day Zanskar Winter Sports and Youth Festival kicked off in Ladakh on Monday. The event will feature a number of exciting and thrilling winter sporting events for the next few days. The main objective of the event is to attract local youth and tourists from all across the country for winter sports and winter tourism.
Under the ambit of Khelo India, first Zanskar Winter Sports and Youth Festival kicked off at Ladakh on Monday. Ladakh MP Jamyang Sering Namgyal inaugurated the Chadar track to open the 13-day Zanskar Winter Sports and Youth Festival from the confluence of Indus and Zanskar rivers near Sangam at Leh.
इसका मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव जो है लद्दाख में विंटर टूरिज्म को बढ़ावा देने के लिए है और साथ ही साथ विंटर स्पोर्ट को भी बढ़ावा देने के लिए है। लद्दाख एक टूरिस्ट के लिए फेमस टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशन तो है ही है, लेकिन सिर्फ समर में टूरिस्ट यहाँ पे आना चाहते हैं और विंटर में बहुत कम लोग आते हैं। तो विंटर में अलग अलग अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ जो यहाँ है, एवेन्यूज़ जो यहाँ है, उसको हम ऑफर करना चाहते हैं। तो इसको इस साल शुरू हो रहा है, तो आने वाले सालों से ये हर साल का एक एक्टिविटीज़ रहेगा। तो इसमें बहुत सारी टूर्नामेंट्स रहेंगे, बहुत सारे एक्टिविटीज़ रहेंगे। तो एक राउंड द ईयर 12 महीना लद्दाख में टूरिज्म कैसे चला सकते हैं इस टूरिज्म इंडस्ट्री को, और साथ ही साथ यहीं के लद्दाख के युवाओं को जो खेल में रुचि रखते हैं, ऐसे लोगों को विंटर स्पोर्ट्स में हम दुनिया में आगे ले जाना चाहते हैं।
Union Minister for Sports and Youth Affairs Kiren Rijiju will inaugurate the Zanskar Winter Festival on Thursday. The event will not only promote tourism in the beautiful surrounding of Zanskar, but also the snow games will get a new identity.
इसका मेन जो उद्देश्य है वो यही है कि एक तो जो यूथ का एंगेजमेंट बढ़ाया जाए और जो यूथ के स्पोर्ट्स एडवेंचर स्पोर्ट्स उसका काफ़ी इसमें शामिल किया जाए। तो उसका मेन उद्देश्य ये है कि एक तो विंटर स्पोर्ट्स को बढ़ावा देना और दूसरा यूथ का एंगेजमेंट को बढ़ावा देना। तो दो इसके मेन पर्पज हैं मिनिस्ट्री की तरफ से, तो उसको लेकर ही हमारा ये काम हो रहा है।
A series of snow sporting events are scheduled for the next 13 days in snowbound and picturesque remote area of Zanskar.
Beginning of Chadar Trek by Ladakh MP Jaming Sering Namgyal at Sangam, the 13-day first Khelo India Zanskar Sports Festival began today, and this winter festival is designed to increase economic activity and open Zanskar as a new tourism destination during the winters. With Transform Doje, this is Ramesh Chandra for DD News.
And with that, let's move on now. Take a look at the health story of the day today. And today we are focusing on the importance of good nutrition, which during early years becomes the foundation of a healthy life. Let's find out how to plan the diet to get proper nutrition for your children.
The food choices that we make determines our health. What is a balanced diet and how important is it to keep us healthy? Let's understand from Dr. Vyom Agrawal. Dr. Vyom Agrawal, how does balanced diet and nutrition help children to be healthy?
Nutrition is a prerequisite for normal development of any child. While an appropriately nourished newborn can be expected to lead a life free from infections and go on to become a healthy adult, a malnourished child often frequently falls ill and remains wasted and stunted for life. Similarly, an overnourished or inappropriately nourished baby can become obese and fall prey later on to lifestyle diseases like hypertension and diabetes. Therefore, it is important that at each stage of life, we give appropriate nutrition to all babies so that they are able to realize their physical and mental capabilities later on.
What kind of diet will help us to get adequate nutrition?
Carbohydrates, fats and protein are the major nutrients. They are provided in diet by cereals, vegetables, fruits, butter or ghee, milk, fish, poultry products and meat. The micronutrients comprise of two different classes, that is that of vitamins and minerals. Vitamins can be derived from sunlight, from eating fresh fruits, vegetables, milk and meat products, while the minerals are derived from sea products, and further fortification of salt can provide us essential micronutrients like iodine and iron.
To eat is a necessity, but to eat intelligently is an art. So let's learn and practice the art of eating healthy, eating right. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
Well, eating right is important, but if you look at a survey that's come, it says 70% of Indians prioritize dietary changes over going to gym. So that's a number that, taste is priority over going to gym, but then, you should have the right mix of, prioritizing your gym activities along with, your dietary changes that one needs to.
Absolutely. Balanced diet with the physical exercise is, of course, the key really to maintaining a healthy and a healthy body weight as well, because that's very important in as far as ensuring that you lead a healthy life. With that, let's move on now. Take a look at the significance of this day in history of the day.
On this day in 1990, Acharya Rajneesh, also known as Osho, a mystic and philosopher, breathed his last in Maharashtra's Pune. In 1960s, he travelled throughout India as a public speaker. Later, he established ashram in USA with hundreds of followers. On the same day in 1883, Thomas Edison's first village electric lighting system using overhead wires began operation in Roselle, New Jersey. On this day in the year 1912, Leonid Kantorovich, a Soviet mathematician and economist, was born in St. Petersburg, Russia. He was known for his theory and development of techniques for the optimal allocation of resources. He was the winner of Stalin Prize. On the same day in 1937, millionaire Howard Hughes set a transcontinental air record by flying his monoplane from Los Angeles to New Jersey in 7 hours, 28 minutes and 25 seconds.
Well, after history, it's time now to come to the present and take a look at the weather conditions and the cool wave in northern part of India. North India will continue to reel under a grip of an intense cold wave for a few more days. Senior scientist in Indian Meteorological Department, that's the IMD, has said that the warning for the cold wave in northern part of the country has been extended till the 22nd of January. Earlier, the IMD had issued a cold wave warning between the 13th and 15th of January and later extended to the 18th of this month. The scientists there, however, said that the dense fog spread across northern plains in Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand will begin lifting from today. Meanwhile, Delhi remains shrouded in a dense layer of fog this morning and recorded a minimum temperature of 8.6 degrees Celsius at 5:30 a.m.
And also let's take a look at the weather forecast for today. The conditions are becoming favourable for cessation of northeast monsoon rains over Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Karaikal, Kerala and Mahe and the adjoining areas of coastal Andhra Pradesh and Yanam, Rayalaseema and south interior Karnataka today. The reversal of winds from easterly to westerly has started over the plains of North India. Now under its influence, the minimum temperatures are very likely to fall by 2 to 4 degrees Celsius during the next 3 days, leading to cold wave conditions in the isolated pockets over East Uttar Pradesh, Punjab and Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi today and tomorrow, and over West Uttar Pradesh and North Rajasthan today and tomorrow. Dense to very dense fog in the isolated pockets very likely over Bihar and dense fog in the isolated pockets over Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi, East Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Odisha during the next 24 hours, and significant decrease in spread and density thereafter till the morning of 22nd of January. And a look now at the temperature in your city for today.
Well, the fag end of the show, a quick update on the cricket match that's on between Australia and India. There, India batting, chasing 328 to win. Suddenly, Indian batsmen changing gears, 123 for 1. The 46th over, Shubman Gill breaking into an, suddenly looking like a one-day game where he's cracked 3 4s and a 6 in that particular over. Slowly inching towards the 100 marker, 89 unbeaten. Cheteshwar Pujara now getting 2 hits to the fence and unbeaten on 19. Clearly, India now putting up a strong fight here. Remember, India needs to draw this particular test match to retain the Border Gavaskar Trophy.
Yeah.
But the way at this point of time as things stand, 123 for 1. India need another 205 runs to win. So we are slowly looking at Indian batsmen maybe changing gears and maybe looking for a series win. But we'll have to wait and watch. Yeah. But we'll get all the action as it happens. Well, at the fag end of the show, there's another thing that we need.
Okay, in fact, this is a tweet that's come in from the Prime Minister's office. This is in fact about the the tragic incident that had taken place in Surat this morning, in which, of course, there were many casualties. Prime Minister there tweeting, I quote, "The loss of lives due to a truck accident in Surat is tragic. My thoughts are with the bereaved families, praying that the injured recover at the earliest." This is in fact about Prime Minister Modi there, in fact, extending his condolences as far as the lives have been lost and hoping for the injured there to recover as soon as possible about the tragic incident that took place in Surat this morning.
Well, our prayers with those families who've lost their loved ones. There are 18 people who've been crushed. There are 13 dead, 5 being rushed to the hospital. We'll get you more updates on that particular story that took place in Surat in the wee hours of the morning. Well, time for us to say goodbye to this edition of Breakfast News. But before we do that, we've got a campaign running for you where we're asking you to mask up India. What we are expecting is that you will consider this mask as a part and parcel of your life. Remember, vaccination has begun, but it's for the healthcare and frontline healthcare workers. So we still have our time getting to the vaccination board. But till then, we've got this particular defense ready for us, and this defense needs to be a part and parcel of our life. So as we step out of the studios, we're going to get our mask on while we move on.
Absolutely. So we're also urging you to practice, these daily practices as far as wearing mask and maintaining social distancing with people and practicing your own hand hygiene. With that, it's a wrap on the Breakfast News this morning. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. But before we go today, we are leaving you with these visuals of the dinos coming there. Dubbed as the US largest touring dinosaur exhibit, the Jurassic Quest drive-thru has made a stop in Los Angeles and Orange County, featuring more than 70 realistic dinosaurs. Take a look at those visuals. We wish you a great day ahead. Take good care of yourself. Have a great day ahead. Thanks for being with us.